Hey everyone, it is August 18th, 2021, and you know what that means? It's Ash Wednesday. Well, it's New Comic Book Day. I'm not sure if I want to do Ash Wednesday videos anymore, but what the hell, let's do one today. You know what this is. If you're an old school watcher, this is something special inside. Brought to you today on my new phone. I got a new phone today. Well, I didn't get it today. Actually, I got it a couple weeks ago. And I've been filming on my iPad for the longest time. And I've been doing like digital stuff and screen capture. And it's actually really easy, much easier and nicer. And I think I can get better image quality for like showing comics off. But there's just something about the old, analog feel, if you will, of having like real imagery of books and things. And I can shoot with the camera, physical comics, but it's a pain in the ass because it's an iPad Pro. It's 12.9 inches, and you got to hold it in one hand. And it's not like it's hard to hold in one hand, but to use it as a camera, it's awkward because it's the camera's off in the corner, so it's not really centered. And I've been wanting to get one of these tripods, which you can't see in the video, but it's not really a tripod. It's kind of like it's got like a flat base, got these prongs that come out over there, these little prongs that stick out, and then it's got a telescoping rod that comes up towards the camera, and then it holds the phone so the phone can point straight down. And what that allows me to do is shoot, basically video straight down. And they're not expensive. I got this one on sale on Amazon with the coupon for like $12, I think. And I've been wanting one of these for the longest time, but when my camera on my old phone became unreliable, I was like, crap. So T-Mobile, who is my provider now, I kind of technically am Sprint, but Sprint bought T-Mobile, and T-Mobile is phasing out Sprint's network. So my phone wasn't going to work on the T-Mobile network. So they did a cool thing, and they sent me an email and said, hey, we're phasing out Sprint's CDMA network. Your phone's not going to work. You need a 5G phone. We'll give you one. Here's your choices. There's a couple different choices you have to make. Now, they didn't give me the top of the line phone, but truth be told, the phone they give me is really good. Now, a mid-grade phone today is better. My old phone was the best phone you could buy in 2016 when it came out. It's a LG G4. Love that phone. It's still my favorite phone I've ever had. But this phone can do just a bunch of other things as technology advances. There's a few quirks that I do not like, but there's a bunch of bells and whistles that I do like. And most importantly, the camera works, so I can record. And we got something here today, and you're like, get to it. So I don't know why people like this. This started off as just sort of a gag, just me doing. I just wanted traditional, have a tradition. When I came back into comics back into 2018, Comicsgate was well and thriving, and I was a big Comicsgate guy, and not the Comicsgate everyone knows today. Everyone thinks of Comicsgate today, and it's all about selling comics, and that's not what it was. Comicsgate was actually a movement of disgruntled fans that didn't call themselves Comicsgate. They basically complained to the comic book industry like, hey, we don't like what you're doing with our comics. And they said, shut up, fans, go back in your corner, you're a bunch of bigots. And then they said, how dare you? That's not professional. You don't call we should be allowed to, we're the ones that buy these books. And then they said, F you, didn't you hear us the first time? And then they labeled us Comicsgate. And that's the really long, butchered history of Comicsgate. And so the fans, instead of taking it as like they thought they were going to insult us, drawing comparisons to Gamersgate and stuff, and it was just, fans just embraced it and said, okay, fine, well, yeah, we are comic, and it united fans. And then some grifters came along and decided we can sell comics to this heated bunch of people, which is how it always works. That's how the Tea Party ended up, which I was also a part of, the original, and then a bunch of Republicans said we could make money off this. So anyways, long story short, when I got back into comics, I was all excited. And when I was into comics in the 80s and 90s, because I had also moved back to San Diego, that's another thing, and I'd gone without In-N-Out for so long. And I was like, one of the things I did in the 90s was In-N-Out. And so I just made it a tradition. Every Wednesday when I went to the comic book store, I would also grab myself In-N-Out burger for lunch. And just have something to look forward to, because you should do that. The comics are fun. Like, we don't do it as a job. So I just started throwing it on camera, and and people, whenever I wouldn't show it, would miss it. Now I get it with the box of liver and my burger got smashed. Let me see if I can fix this. Jeez Louise. Ay, ay, ay. So normally I like to show this off to show like how picture perfect they get the burger. Not today. But that's it, because I asked for put it in the box and they put the lid and it smashes, and they should just lie it down, but sometimes it's great. It's not going to taste any different. And still, that looks more like the picture than what you're going to get at like Wendy's or McDonald's or Jack in the Box or Burger King or wherever else you go. Speaking of which, I was tempted to go to Burger King today, only because Wednesday, if you have the app, Wednesday is Whopper Day, and they used to give Whoppers away for $1. And then they wisened up. Now it's $2 Whopper Day. But I was like, cheap lunch. In-N-Out's way better than Burger King, but it's $2. But this is $4.25. So I was disappointed when they raised the price, because they just raised the price real recently, and I was like, now they're more expensive than a comic. But then lo and behold, DC Comics never fails me. DC's average price is now $4.99, with some of their books like Batman Urban Legends soaring up to $7.99. But whatever. So I'd rather buy this for less than the price of a comic book. And then I got 3 comic hauls to show off today, in case you care about that. But first, I'm going to eat this bad boy. For those of you who've been missing the burger, there it is. If you have an In-N-Out burger in your area, get you one. If you don't, I'm sorry. Hopefully you've got something special that you like. This, by the way, in case you care, is a double with extra spread. Add onions, pickles, and extra spread. And then a special request, you have to order a special request, ketchup on top of the spread. Because if you don't special request it, they'll put the ketchup on the top of the bun and the spread on the bottom bun. And I don't like that. The ketchup and the spread together make a nice combination. It's like Marvel Team Up when you put Spidey with someone else. I don't know what I'm talking about now. I'm going to go eat this burger, and then we're going to get back into comics. Oh, yeah. That was good. Remember, kids, one of the things about In-N-Out, don't forget, you gotta lick the sack. You got the cheese and the extra spread. It's gone now because I licked it off. But if you like licking sack, then In-N-Out is for you. All right, moving right quite along. One of the things I used to do on Ash Wednesdays, besides the show of the comics, is have some topics. We've got some no frills topics going on here today. I don't have a screen. This is where you have a camera. It's boring. And right now, you fight the urge to hit the channel select or whatever. You can fast forward, I guess. Anyways, so in the news, I figured I can't ever remember. I always think about topics I want to talk about, and then when it comes to filming, I don't remember what the hell, because my brain is like Biden's. So what I did is I'll just let Perch determine my topics. Perch he does like 5 videos a day, and he's always talking about stuff. And usually when I'm listening to his videos, I'm like, I got a rebuttal to that, or what, So not always. I actually really like Perch. He's got some good insight. But so one of the things was DC Webtoons. So DC announced, if you haven't heard, they're going to push digital, because why not? It's a circus over there. So DC has decided they're going to devote resources to this company Webtoons, and they're going to publish brand new original content for digital only release, and it's going to be on Webtoons. Because why do anything? Why do anything in-house when you can just outsource to other companies for overseas stuff? So Perch really thought this was a great idea. Perch is a real big proponent of digital, and though I love reading my books on digital, almost exclusively do that now. Once you have a great tablet to read on, you don't want to go back, trust me. But I don't think it's a good idea, and here's why. You're spreading yourself too thin. And by that I mean DC already makes way too many books. And, Purge is like, oh, it's great, diversify your options, make money, do all this stuff. The problem is you only have so many resources to make these books. And right now, DC doesn't have enough talent to do the books that they do, and they're making too many. And they basically pushed out all of their top talent, so they don't even have any big names to draw you into their world. Jeff Johns is gone, Scott Snyder's gone, James Tynion is sticking around, but I think he's just basically keeping one leg in case his Substack stuff fails. Venditti, I don't know why they don't use that guy more, but Tom King's cred is gone. I mean, he just doesn't sell books anymore. Bendis he's not long. Not that I'm a fan of Bendis, but I mean, he's got a big name. There's more names that I'm not thinking. Peter Tomasi was pushed out. So they're bringing over the Vita Ayalas and the Teeny Howards and everything. And mark my words, the DC is half as good as it was a year ago. It'll be half as good again a year from now as it is today. It's going down the tubes. And then you want to make more books on top of that. Who's going to be doing these webtoons? Are they just going to go onto Tumblr and find... I guess they've been copying Marvel so far. So moving on, Kate's going to Substack. So when I was listening to this, of course, it's not unexpected. All these writers are going over to Substack. And it's just like every day it seems like a new announcement of who's going over there. Donny Cates from Marvel fame is going over there. And a couple things struck me when I was listening to Perch talk about it. The way Donny Cates is doing it, he was praising him and saying, Cates is doing it the right way and all this stuff. And I think there's some positives the way Donny Cates is going. But one of the things that struck me was, and part of this is just have to do with how I see Cates as a person outside of his creations. He's very much comes off as a prima donna, a narcissist. He's very much a diva. And the way they're treating this Substack and the way he talks about it, he wrote about he writes this big long letter. You can see Perch's video to get more, about how, we're going to make sure it's a good place. It's exclusive for and all this stuff. And all I could hear of was, you can pay money to be in their exclusive club. That's what this is going to be. It's going to be like, you want to see our tweets now? Now you got to pay for them. Whatever. We live in a free country. Well, sort of. The illusion of a free country. Anyways, it just seems really elitist. And to pay this money, and everyone, I'm starting to really not like Substack. Because at first it was like, I'll pay $7 a month to join a thing. But now with everyone going, how many writers? Like if there's 10 different writers paying $7, $8 a month and I'm on the free mailing list for most of these guys. And it's like I'm hit with 3 newsletters a day. I'm already I don't want to read any of this shit. I'm already tuned out. I don't even care. Jonathan Hickman sends me a new thing. The new thing going on. I'm like, I don't even care. It's bombardment. I'm overloaded. And that's just with the free. Because Substack is not about paying. I mean, it is about paying subscription, but there's free stuff too. You can join Substack. I'm on Substack. I haven't done any newsletters yet or anything, but because I didn't know what I was doing, I just tried it. But you can just go there and have people subscribe to you for free. You don't need to charge them. Now, these guys do have to charge you because it's part of their contract, because Substack gave them a bunch of money. And the idea is Substack wants to eventually start skimming the cream, the money, they're going to take money off the top after a year. So they can't be like, hey, Donnie, here's a bunch of money, come over to Substack. And he's like, I'm giving away all my shit free. We don't make any money that way. But if you want to go to Substack, if you've got a little webcomic or you got whatever, you got a podcast, you can host a podcast on there. Whatever. You don't have to have a paywall if you don't want. Also, Donny Cates, this is another thing that struck me. Donny Cates doesn't do well in the indies. You remember that book, Crossover? Yeah. Most people have forgotten that already, and it's still coming out. That was a big, crossover. It's going to be the biggest thing, and it's... does anyone read Redneck? Donny Cates is big at Marvel, right? And for good reasons. There's lots of reasons I'll prop the guy up. He's one of the only creators that'll get me to buy a book, although I'm not going to jump over to Hulk. I do read his Thor, and he got me to read Venom. He apparently has more Thanos stuff, he said, down the line. I'll be curious about that. I think when he's doing stuff right, one of the reasons I like him is because he understands mainstream comics. He understands the continuity and how a shared universe is important. And he's got big ideas. He's not necessarily the greatest writer, quote unquote, right? He can write decently, enough for mainstream. I've never expected mainstream writing to be Shakespeare. It's just tell solid stories, and Cates can do that, and he's very creative, and he respects continuity, and I like that. So indies, your writing has to shine because all those other qualities don't matter. And then lastly, too much. One of the things when Bendis came over to DC Comics, I criticized when they started putting, number one, they gave Bendis like 10 books. There was at one point Bendis was writing 10 books. I was like, I don't care how good of a writer you are, no one can write 10 books a month regularly. Like there's just, the fountain doesn't flow that much. Donny Cates then, when Bendis left Marvel, there was a vacuum, and they saw Donny was this hot young writer, and they started giving him all this stuff. And immediately the quality was like, down. And he hasn't really recovered. He hasn't written anything of note. Silver Surfer Black was probably the last really good thing. His early Venom work, like the first 12 issues, Thanos Wins, those things, his early stuff that, even Cosmic Ghost Rider, as wacky as that is, was kind of groundbreaking. Now his stuff, his Thor is good. It's not very good. And there's weak points to it. There's a lot of like, it just needs more time. It needs more polish. And when you're spread thin, you're just basically turning in rough drafts at that point, and it'll start to show. So I'm afraid of this. Because I think his Substack has like 3 books he's working on. Plus he's got Redneck. Plus, crossover might be ending. I don't know. Plus he's got Hulk. Plus he's got Thor. Plus whatever more. Like, how many books are you writing? This is a bad idea. And then now, lastly, Hickman off X-Men. This is a known thing. I told people a long time ago, back when House of X and Powers of X, and people like, Jonathan Hickman is, the best thing ever, and you just watch what he's going to do with X-Men. And I said, I don't care. You could put Chris Claremont himself back on X-Men. It won't matter, because Marvel sucks. And the problem is at the top. They will not allow a book to succeed. They will find a way to get in the way. And guess what? Hickman is now off of the X-Men books. I just tweeted out something where Gary Duggan made a tweet saying, I had to find this out in the news, because that's what a freaking clown show they are. Gary Duggan didn't even know that the former head writer of the X Office was no longer doing it. And he's the guy writing X-Men now. They just gave him X-Men. It's terrible. And Wes over at Thinking Critical did a really informative video regarding this whole thing, talking about exposing some of the X Office, how they deviated from his original plan. Apparently he had like a 3-act structure, and that this first wave of X-Men was just the first act, and he was ready to go into Act 2. And he kind of asked all the other writers, which is nice, it's respectful, even if you're the head guy, what do you guys think, on your books? Are you ready to go into the second act now? And they all wanted to stay in the first one, which is where the X-Men are the ethno-fascist evil people that they, because of their personality or ideology, see them as the heroes. And it's really twisted. And this is something I was like, no. I was like, and I said this a long time ago, I didn't predict it in this fashion. People were like, oh, Ash, it's just going to be revealed, that they're plant people or this or that. And I was like, no, that you are never going to be able to reveal that these characters are actually bad. Because these characters represent the ideology of the writers, of the creators doing it. This is the exact same reason why not everyone, but so many people flipped out in the Game of Thrones when they revealed, spoiler alert, big spoiler, if you haven't watched Game of Thrones, plug your ears. Because this is worth writing. I love Game of Thrones. When they revealed Khaleesi to be the evil bitch that she was essentially the equivalent of the SJW. She was the evil through benevolence, the guise of benevolence, of like, I'm here to save everyone. And when people didn't want to be saved by her, well, then they had to be cleansed. She represented everything. And when that mirror gets turned on the progressives, they're like vampires of the sunlight. They're like, hey, so I was like, there's no way X-Men is ever coming out of this. There's no way Hickman's going to reveal, ha, they were the villains all along. It was all part of the plan. No way. And like I said, I didn't predict it happened this way, but there's no way. The new X-Men, the way they are here to stay, because they can't ever admit that this type of being is bad because it represents them. They would have to admit they're bad. Now, he was interviewed. Wes explained this. So he was not paid really to write books. And I mean that in the sense of just like being on an X-Men book and writing. Like, he's paid for like bigger picture type writing, which makes sense. So they're keeping him on. He's not leaving Marvel, so he's going to have some sort of capacity. My take on that, although it's not officially stated, is that they're probably having some sort of retainer that they're paying him because they want basically to option him. If they want a Hickman thing, he's there. And I feel that Hickman probably has the ear of really big higher ups, people like Kevin Feige. Hickman's ideas have made it into the MCU. That all makes sense. Will we get any real big projects out of him? I don't think so. I think we're just going to get some idea stuff, and then it'll eventually just get offloaded onto the clowns at Marvel, who will F it up. But Marvel doesn't see it that way. They think their shit doesn't stink. So they're going to keep shitting and thinking we're going to want to buy it. And Marvel Zombies will keep buying it because so many Marvel buyers are collectors. I see so many in the shops that don't even necessarily read all the books. They buy them because they've been collecting for 20 years and they're big Spider-Man fans, and they just buy all the Spider-Man. There's people that will buy every appearance of their favorite character. So, Marvel exploits that. And they realize that, there's going to be a core enough audience that won't leave because the quality of the books don't really matter, and they're kind of down to that core. So if a few people that really care about the writing, like me, leave, it's just small change. It's just the way that it is. And they're bankrolled by Disney. So anyways, that's all I'm going to talk about. Let's get into the comics. It's been long enough. One of the cool things I like about my new phone is it has 3 cameras, and one of which is a wide angle view. So that's all I did. I switched the lens. Now I get a bigger surface here. And then I got my little towel thing, and it's cool because it fits the whole frame. So when I'm down, I know where the borders are. So remember, kids, always show your receipts. So this first haul was $15 at the store. This was, 2 weeks ago? I picked up, and I didn't really do a haul video. So this is Geiger. Read this book. This is going to be featured on the Indie Comic Show. And if you're not reading Geiger, jump on it. This is issue 5. It's not an interesting cover to kids sitting around in a suit. Incidentally, why does the kid's suit look more like a baggy hazmat suit, and then the girl's is kind of skin tight? Whatever. Just weird. But anyways, this is a good book. Good book. It's typical Jeff Johns in the sense that it gets better as it goes along. Like, the first issue to me was the worst. Second got better, third got better, fourth got better. It builds up steam. Doomsday Clock did the same thing for me. He feels like that kind of writer that he's like a freight train. It doesn't start off fast, but it gets rolling and rolling and rolling. And at this point, I feel like I see the direction of the book going. I was very interested. These are just catalyst characters for the main character, Geiger. And they serve to give focus or motive for the main character, the purpose for him, because he's not yet a hero. And will he be a hero? Is this even a superhero book? I don't know. But it's a Mad Max style setting with a super powered character in Geiger. And it's Jeff Johns and Gary Frank. What more can you ask for? $3.99. Why are you not buying it if you like good comics? And then if you also Firepower, this is a great week. We just did feature this on the Indie Comic Show. Great book. I love where this is going. Get into this series. Follow that show with us every other Wednesday. And Theory Craft with us. And geek out on all the things that it does good. Man, I love this. I love jumping in on the beginning of a Kirkman book. Because I missed out on Invincible and Walking Dead. But no more. I will not miss out on Kirkman books in the future. Then there's Blade Runner 2099. I'm still buying it. I'm getting the B covers because of Sid Mead. Even though this is like napkin sketches for Sid Mead. He's an amazing artist. Look up his work online. It's not just little sketches like this. He's a brilliant, he's a, I think what they're called a futurist. Where you have an artist and you pay them to like envision what the future may look like. He did a lot of the original design work for the movie Blade Runner, the original Blade Runner. I've always been somewhat of a fan of his, so I thought these covers were neat, just to express that fandom. And then finally, we'll be talking about this on the next Indie Comic Show, is Skybound X. This is volume 5, and I got the alternate cover, even though the A cover is a David Finch gorgeous cover. I got the alternate cover because this is the new Kirkman series, Code. So this is the first appearance of Code, the new, did I say Hickman? I always mix Kirkman and Hickman. Robert Kirkman's new series, Code. This is the first appearance of them, the first book. It's also the first cover appearance. So I'm going to get this book. I realize now that I will just pick up any Kirkman book. And that was my haul for this week. What do you think is best? This is an okay book. I'm a little bit behind on this because the main writer is not on it anymore. He's kind of show running it, if you will. But whatever. I love 2019 so much that I'm going to continue on. This book is just okay for me. It's not terrible, but it's definitely, the quality has decreased. But that's what happens when you earn my fandom. I stay on the book until you lose me. It doesn't need to be a home run every time. Okay, so then the next week, Comic Haul. Now this was a replacement book, Usagi Yojimbo, because my previous copy got water damaged. So, so that was, we'll put that over here. But not really from that week, but I had to pick it up. Then I got Daredevil. I got the reflections. Daredevil 33. I just finished reading this, so I know Vankman has been pestering me. Not really pestering, but he's been asking, have you ready to read it? I did. I got 32 and 33 read. And yeah, this is still the best book at Marvel. Especially this issue. The 32 had, the artist on 32 was terrible. This is Chichetto back on the book. And instantly, it's like the book gets twice as good. Even though the same writing. Artists really do matter. And this, I've been waiting for this cover. It got spoiled to me like months ago. And I was like, geez, what that's going to be about. And this is very interesting where this book goes. I was like, I did not see that coming. And for all those people who are like, well, Matt Murdock's in jail. It's building to something. Zdarsky's not just, there's a reason why he's in jail. And then there's a reason why he went to jail. Then there's a reason why he is in jail. And both of those reasons were secondary to actually the reason the writer wants him there, because other things are going to happen while he's in the jail, and it's cool shit. Like this is not a throwaway story. It's good stuff. Also, this was my free comic. So this is the only book I got. So I didn't even go down until Saturday to pick it up because I didn't want to drive down on Wednesday. So I went down on free comic book day. So here's my free comic book day pulls. They had a 2017 Exo Manowar. I was like, oh, okay, I'll take that. This was like, then I picked up We Live. This is the miniseries is huge in back issue markets. Apparently people like it. So I don't know. I was like, I'll get that because it's an original story. Stray Dogs is another one of those indie darlings. It's really hard to get in the back issues. Multiple printings. This is another original story, so yeah, it's free. I'm not going to turn down free. This was the darling to get, and it wasn't even. They didn't even have this out. I was like, this is the book that I want. Do you have it? So for those of you who are like, what even is that, Ash? This is James Tynan's book, and it is it's in the same universe as the Something is Killing the Children. You might notice from the layout of the book. I don't know why the title is different, if it's a separate thing or what it is, but I knew Something is Killing the Children #1, apparently an issue just sold for $1,000. So that's huge. Something is Killing the Children may very well be the next Walking Dead as far as indie collectability and hype and interest. So I was like, this is probably going to be a special book. I mean, if there was a special free Walking Dead, comic day Walking Dead from back in the day that had a special story, it would be worth something, I bet. Then I picked up Red Room, and this is also original story outside the main series. So I'm a fan in theory, but I don't really read this because it's too much for me. It's hyper violent to the point of disgust. But some people, it's not just the violence. It's not the gore. It's the depravity of it all. It's pretty hard to stomach. However, everything else I like, the edgy punk rock attitude, pisscore. I keep saying pisscore. So I picked it up just for the collectability. I'm probably not going to read it. And then lastly, I got this, which is one of the hot things to get from Free Comic Day, apparently. Blade Runner 2099. So that, I think I got a pretty good Free Comic Day haul. It's probably the best, most interesting Free Comic Day. I didn't get any of the Marvel stuff. I don't care. I'll get them digitally on Comixology to read them. So what do you think of this haul? Pretty good? Not bad? Oh, yeah. Let's see. Oh, I got my receipts. I'm not done. There's more to this haul. So I went down to Free Comic Book Day, and then they've got sales and stuff going on. So I was like, I'll get some back issues. So I got Hawkworld #1. This is the prestige bound format by Timothy Truman. Hawkworld #1. #2. This is the hard one for me to find. And #3, oh, this one's, whoops, that's 2 books. That's like this thick. Hawkworld #3. So check that out. Pretty cool. I was like, yeah, so one of the cool, Eric, I'm learning. I'm learning how to use my tripod. So Eric Breen would be proud getting back issues. I decided I do like collecting comics. And if DC's not going to make Hawkman books, probably, there's a whole world, pun intended, of Hawkman out there that I can collect. And because it's not a premiere book, I don't have to worry about, chase issues, key issues that are super expensive. And I can just go collect and have fun reading and build up a personal collection, one that I care about for nostalgia, not necessarily for monetary value. And that to me is a fun way to collect, that you don't have to spend a ton of money, but you can have fun building a collection that you can be proud of. And the Hawkworld stuff, DC, it's like their redheaded stepchild. I don't think you can find these in trade paper. They might have been reprinted in a trade once upon a time, but this is definitely out of print. Probably not coming back anytime soon. Then the Hawkworld main series, I got 11 and 12. So now I have the ongoing series, issues 1 through 12. So that's cool. But there's more. I've been looking for these forever. So Chuck Dixon is a great writer. And I found out that he did one of my favorite characters of all time. He did a series called Doom. Now, I found a series in a hole-in-the-wall comic book store that I didn't know existed. It was called Doom, the God Emperor Returns. Chuck Dixon. I was like, what? So it's 3 issues. And then I found out later that it was the sequel to this series. And I was like, there's another one? So I've been looking for it. And, you know, I can find it on eBay and stuff, but it's not worth anything. So I didn't want to pay a ton of money. So I found these in the store and got the whole run. So now I have both series. Now I'm going to be able to read them because, again, these are things that Marvel hasn't printed either. Probably won't because Chuck Dixon is persona non grata. He has wrongthink. And speaking of Doom, this book came out, I think, last year, the year before. I can't remember when Marvel did their whole 2099 resurgence. And I mostly ignored it because I was like, fuck this 29. Marvel's just pooping out events. But this, I got to read this book. Did a review of it, actually. And this is a one-shot issue. So I didn't have to follow any stupid event or whatever. It's Chip Zdarsky. And it's good. It's one of my favorite characters, Doom, by Chip Zdarsky. It's one shot. And it's especially good if you read the Doom 2099 series from the past, like in the 90s. Because that series, when you read that series, it was always under the premise of, I'll put this back here, that is this guy really Dr. Doom? Like, is this Victor Von Doom, the original? Or is it a Doom bot? That's just because, you know, it's in the year 2099. Doom would presumably be old and dead. Or is this a Doom bot that's just still living, you know, as an AI? Or is it someone else entirely that's just assumed the name Dr. Doom? And I don't think I ever finished that series because I think I got out of comics while it was still running. But I was collecting it for a long time, and they never answered that question. That was part of the mystery, and you didn't, as a reader, you didn't quite know. All you knew is what the character was just asserting that he was Doom, but you didn't know the truth. And this book reveals the truth, and it's way cool. Then I saw this, and I've been wanting this for a while. Hard to find, a little bit expensive. This is the book that convinced me that DC was the way to go, and that Jeff Johns was the prodigy of DC. Basically, he was the guiding voice. He was DC's Stan Lee as far as like a vision goes, not necessarily as representative. And so shame on DC for losing this guy because now they're in shambles. This book, if you've never read DC Universe Rebirth, #1, it's a one-shot that they used to launch the whole thing. And if you like Wally West Flash, this book will bring a tear to your eye. This book is legitimate great. Like I said, it's one-shot book. It's got multiple talents. I think Ethan Van Sciver was it. Gary Frank, Ivan Rice. I'm not sure which Jimenez that is, but all Jeff Johns. It's a thick book. It's staple bound, but I want to say feels like 64 pages. I think. Look at that, only $2.99 cover price. This is 2016. Remember when comics were affordable? This is a great book. So I saw this. So look, $3.50, cheaper than a modern comic. This is this nostalgia for me because I was never a really big DC fan, and Rebirth made me so. Rebirth is my favorite era of DC. Not knocking any other eras except for the current one. But yeah, this is fantastic. Now, why am I talking about this? Because how much do you think I paid for all those books? This whole stack, this whole $31.72. Because a lot of them were free and the rest were half price. So, yeah, support your local comic shop. DC didn't make a dime. Marvel sold one Daredevil book because that's one of the few books they do good. And then, and also, if you bought $20 or more in product on the day, you got to pick a free trade or a manga of a select group of stuff. So they didn't have anything that was really interesting to me. So this caught my eye, and I was like, there's a couple books actually that caught my eye, and I thought, I bet Venkman might like this. The art, really good. This is a cheesecake book, but I was like, this is a Top Cow, so Silvestri's group, back when artists were good, man. This is good stuff. Anyways, so I was like, you know what? I bet Venkman would like this book. So it was between this and something else. I'm not going to say what it was because I don't want Venkman to be like, I would have liked that other one better. But Venkman, if this book is interesting to you, it's got some gorgeous art in the female species. Marcia Chin and illustrated by Joe Benitez. The Magdalene Blood Divine. This can be yours. I'll ship it out. It's a trade paperback. It's reasonably good condition. And I was thinking about you, bud. So thank you, Venkman, for being a friend and supporter of the channel. And I know sometimes I get persnickety at you, but I don't mean any harm. And then lastly, today's comic book day, it's what you're here for. Got Blade Runner Origins. I was going to get the foil cover, but it's $1 more, and I'm like, F that. I think Skip got the foil cover, so I can be jealous. But Blade Runner Origins, it's pretty good. It's not great. 2019 is the great one. But again, they won me as a fan, so I'm going to keep going. Skip's really liking it. I'm behind on it, so maybe it gets better than I expect. This is one of my favorite books right now, Noctera. Also by Skip's favorite writer, Snot Rider. And this is a fun book. This is, if you like post-apocalyptic horror, if you like stories where it's a mystery what's going on and they're like unraveling, like, you know, there's a lot of world building. This is an interesting book. Beautiful art, all inside by Tony S. Daniel. One of the few comics that you can buy on the shelf where you look at the cover and that's exactly what you're going to get inside. It's the way comics should be. Top-notch book, only $3.99. You'll pay less than DC, most DC books. And then finally, a book I was really looking forward to, but really bittersweet at the same time. This is issue 18 of Ascender. Final issue. I think it got cut short. I suspect. I don't know. Maybe they planned 18 issues, but the Descender was 32 issues. I don't think this book was selling tremendously well, and they just had to pull the plug. So I suspect that it's abridged. It's good. I just don't know if there was meant to be more. Maybe it's better that I never know. But I love this series. This is one of my absolute favorite series in comics. Again, another perfect marriage of art and writing together, both fantastic. I think Ascender is even better than Noctera, but some are going to like Noctera better just because the style of the book is different, the genre of the book. This is more of a space opera type of fantasy, like Star Wars. This is more of a dark future, post-apocalyptic, like what's that movie, I Am Legend? Like sort of like that, you know, that feeling. But yeah, so it's bittersweet. Not going to look forward to any more Ascender books. I feel like I just picked up #1 off the shelf a couple months ago. Time flies by. And then finally, I got talked into buying the variant cover of it. And you'll notice Descender, number 50. So I thought this was very interesting. This is the variant cover of this. So this is going to presumably tie in the Descender storyline, because this is the sequel to Descender, the series. Although you don't need to read Descender to read this. But maybe this final issue ties the whole thing together, which would be very interesting. If you add 18 to 32, you get 50. So together as one story. This final issue is the final issue of Descender as well. So I was like, I got talked into it, and my store only ordered 2 copies of it. I was like, is this special? Because they pulled it for me, and I was like, well, I only get that. And she was like, yeah, you know, but I know you like the book, so I pulled it for you in case you wanted it. And I was like, well, is it special? Like, is it a limited run? Like, what's the deal? And she's like, well, I only ordered 2, and my store is pretty big, so there's not many of these in print. And I'm gonna guess because, I mean, look at the art. This is Jeff Lemire's art. But you know, I was like, I'm a sucker more just for the way it ties it all together. Because maybe one day I'm going to get the whole Descenders in floppy, the way Skip's trying to collect all the East of West. You know, it's your favorite book. You like just having them. I do have the hardcovers, but anyways, that's my pull. Oh, it wasn't my pull. I also got one more thing. I found another copy. I pleaded. I did some deal making with my comic book shop owner. Remember, kids, always be nice to your comic store. Always. The people that work there, they don't necessarily get paid a ton, and they put up with some obnoxious people. Remember, just because you're nice and polite to them doesn't mean everyone else isn't maybe treating them like shit. Be nice to them. Be understanding if they make mistakes, you know, and praise them and thank them when they go out of their way for you. It will make them feel good. And then if you're lucky, they will return the favor and look out for you. And my comic book store does that. And so I pleaded. I was like, hey, can I get a second? I know I mean, it's one per customer type thing. But so she gave me a second one because I asked for you, Skip. So not just Venkman. Skip was looking for this book. So Skip, if you're still needing this book, I know you were saying you couldn't find one, but this is yours. If you want it, we'll get in touch. So that's my comic book haul video. What do you think? Yeah. Hashtag read good comics. Bye, Skip.